going on? Don't forget, sub to the channel if you like the content. This time we're going to do this a little bit different with the full screen instead of me small. So we got Stevenson versus Caraballo. So I'm going to stand up for this breakdown. It's not really a breakdown. I'm going to tell y'all what their weaknesses are, and I'm going to tell y'all who I think's going to win the fight. So for people who don't really know boxing as well, this is the point of this, to show y'all. So one thing I want to talk about Felix Caraballo, we're going to call him Felix because it's easier. He likes to keep a really tight guard. All right, so when you see him moving in, he has a very tight guard to his face. Now this is good because you're here and you can catch hooks being thrown at you, right? However, it's a bad guard for somebody like Stevenson, and I'm going to explain why. First and foremost, when your guard is this tight, especially for Felix, he likes to throw hooks. The issue is when you're this tight with your guard, which is great against maybe a more power punching threat, but when you're here, okay, here's the issue that happens. You tell every time you throw your hook because you have to bring your hand off your head to throw the hook. You can't just do what you normally would do. So what I mean by normally do is with a more traditional stance to where your hands are more away from your face and not so tight, right? To throw a hook, all you literally have to do is raise your elbow, turn your body. That's it. That's all you're doing. When you have it this tight to your face, you can't do that because your hand's already glued to your face. So what ends up happening is you give a tell because you have to pull your hand off to be able to throw the hook. So that's a real bad thing about Felix's guard style is when he goes to throw them hooks, all you have to do is look for him to pull his guard off of his face. Also, as I mentioned, when you're here, okay, real tight to the face, right? You're good for the hooks to the face, and your elbows are already here, so whenever somebody throws a hook to the body, you can dip your sides to catch it on your elbows, or you can just slide down a little bit. You're already there. However, the bad part to this is, especially against somebody like Stevenson who likes to throw straight punches, look, all this is wide, so you have to try to come here. So if you bring your elbows together, you're very susceptible to getting hit here. If they throw a jab down and you do this, boom, you're countered by the straight here. And it's also very susceptible when up close to uppercuts sliding in between the guard. Again, that's why me personally, I never stuck this close. Now, there's some advantages to it. Like I said, if you fight a power puncher, when you're this close, you're absorbing a lot of it with your fist and nothing's going to get through. When you're loose with it, the glove, when they throw their punch, can either slip behind and hit you, or it can cause your hand to hit you in the face. So in all actuality, it absorbs more if you're against a power puncher. However, if you were looser, right, looser with your guard, if somebody threw an uppercut, you could just, see what I'm saying? So it's a very bad guard in my opinion. Because of, like I said, it's very susceptible to straights to the body, jabs to the face, uppercuts when up close, and we know Stevenson likes to throw uppercuts at time. What else do I see bad? So another bad thing that Felix likes to do is when you throw the jab, I discussed this on my jab tutorial, right? No matter if you're traditional or you're southpaw, right? We'll just do southpaw since you can see here, and then we'll go traditional. When you jab, to get the most out of your jab, it should be a step. The minute that front toe touches the ground, you're popping. You're popping. If you go the other way, you're popping. You're popping. What Felix likes to do is sometimes you'll see him resort to step, then he'll jab. He'll step, then he'll jab. Which is weird because when you do that, you don't really have any type of power on it. It is 100% an arm punch because not only when you step and jab, like if you jab while you're stepping and sink, it makes you faster because you're going with your body, but it also puts that body weight behind it. So now a soft jab hits harder. Whereas when you step, it's all arm, so it's going to be slower for the jab, and there's going to be no power behind it because it's just a pure arm punch. The other thing that he does that I don't really like is he has what they refer to in boxing as the typical Mexican style. Now, what does Mexican style mean? It means you're a come forward type fighter to where you're trying to get close and brawl in the pocket. That is what they mean by it. And he has that just standard high, tight guard, try to get in close, which is going to be, I see, a huge disadvantage, but I'll get into that at the end of this video. Now, what does Shakur Stevenson do bad? So, Stevenson has some things that he does bad as well, but both guys are still newer in their career. Stevenson being the prospect, Felix already having, I believe, I can't remember if it's 2 losses and a draw or 1 loss and 2 draws, but for them to be so new into their career, that's not good for Felix. Whereas Stevenson, of course, is a prospect. So what Stevenson does bad, and you can catch this on a lot of his fights, he likes to drop the jab on the recoil. Now, what does that mean? When you jab, again, you're here, and it's coming back to wherever you threw it from. So if you have a high guard, it's coming back high. If you have a lower guard, it's coming back low, right below the chin. But you got to imagine with the gloves on, it's still going to have about to your cheekbone covered. So depending on where your guard is, that's a proper jab. Wherever you throw it from, that's where it should come back to. However, sometimes when Stevenson throws it, he drops the arm and then brings it back. He drops and brings it back. Now, the issue with that is if you get against a guy who's skilled enough, fast enough, that can time you, he can either purposely catch the jab on his face and then look for the counter left hook, or he can sidestep, come in and counter it because he knows your guard's not coming back, your head's dropping. So that's what he's looking for. You can even sidestep with a wide step and catch somebody with a straight if you step around and through, boom. So that's one big flaw that he has. He gets very lazy with bringing that jab back up after he throws it. He's also very vulnerable, and he does this a lot when he jumps backwards. So what I mean by that is, when he evades a punch, depending on how he chooses, a lot of times he has no guard. So when you're much faster than somebody, you can get away with that. But when you get in there with somebody who's very close to your speed or faster than you, then they can capitalize on you making this mistake over and over again. So for instance, what I mean by this is when, let's say a punch is coming to his body, right? He likes to do like this. He'll do like this. So all this is open. So what that means is if somebody comes with a feint, right? And he comes here, then instead of throwing, they could take another step and drive right through his stomach while he has no protection. You're protected here because you can bear down, take it, tighten up your abs, lean into it, right? But when you're here, everything is not flexed, everything is soft. So if somebody goes feint, boom, and catches you at the end because they're fast enough to move with you, that can be very bad for your body to get a straight right or a straight left, depending on what stance you are. Seeing somebody do that. Also, he'll leap. So he leaves himself open a lot when he's evading. Because when he leaps backwards, a lot of times too, he'll kind of like, if you go for his head, he'll kind of come down with his hands here. It's very weird how he keeps his hands low coming back. Same thing. Somebody could feint to the body, or feint to the head, bait him to jump like that, and just take that little step with them, come over the top, and boom. So those are very big issues that he has. Another thing, he's not a very hard puncher. And the issue with him not being a hard puncher is he's not a volume puncher either. So normally when you see guys who don't hit as hard, they hit more frequent. They hit more frequently, they throw more punches to kind of counterbalance that. Stevenson has a very low output for his weight class, and he doesn't hit that hard. So what he does a lot of is moving. He evades a lot, comes in, pop, pop, gets out. So very in and out. Trying to think what else. Okay. I just remembered one. What Stevenson is really bad. Now, jumping backwards, that's contingent on it. If somebody's fast enough to catch you, right? They might not be. Jumping back with your hands down, again, is somebody fast enough. But where the biggest flaw he has, the biggest chink in his armor currently is when Stevenson goes to the body, right? So if I'm throwing a body punch, a straight, right? I'm here. And you see how protected I am whenever I'm coming to the body? I'm coming down to the body. Now my guard will tighten up because I'm looking for a counter shot. What Stevenson does is he keeps his guard, like when he drops, his hands drop with him. So they almost go to like the bottom of his pec or chest if you don't know. So his hands will drop and then he'll look and he'll throw the straight. Now, there's a big issue with that. If somebody can time you coming to the body, you don't have anything to protect your face. Now, that's one thing I was going to say about, well, I'll get into that part in the breakdown about what I just said, where you're really open to the hooks, right? And that's pretty much both their weaknesses that I can tell you. I think Stevenson is the much better boxer. It's very hard to find footage on Felix. It's very limited because he doesn't have such a premier name as Shakur Stevenson. So here's the thing. Stevenson's got to be very careful because even though that guard is tight, because it's so tight and you're not really worried about body shots as much as, like I said, you can just lower your elbows, bring them together, lower them, drop, because they're already here. They're not here to where you got to make as much of a movement to get your body blocked. I could see Felix countering him when he comes down and tries to go to the body like this. I could see a hook catching Stevenson coming in. So he's got to be very careful against a come forward, tight guard fighter if he drops and throws that straight right to the body and doesn't have any type of defense up while he's doing it. That to me is Felix's number one shot at beating Stevenson. Catch him when he's going to the body. As far as Stevenson goes, Stevenson, he's got the perfect style to be the come forward style. Like Felix is much slower on his feet. He's got decent power, but he's no killer with the power. So all Stevenson has to do is just evade him, hit him, go straight through that tight guard, just straight through. Just get jabs through there. You can even jab to the body, but stay mobile and just circle them. And it's pretty easy to beat a come forward fighter that's not fast. Like, it's much harder when a guy's fast, like Mike Tyson peekabooing you, bobbing and weaving, versus a guy who stands straight up and just moves forward. Kind of like an AJ Ruiz type thing, where AJ just stayed circling. I see that's how Shakur needs to win this fight, Stevenson. But yeah, that's both their weaknesses I see. And how I see it playing out is, like I said, I think Stevenson is too fast. I think he's going to land a lot of jabs and straights in between the guard. And when they do get tied up or get close, because that, like I said, is very susceptible to the uppercut. And I know Stevenson likes to throw the uppercut. I'm seeing him land a good bit of uppercuts. Now, I don't know if Stevenson can knock this guy out because, like I said, he's not a volume puncher and he's not a power puncher. So he could. It's possible. I think more than likely it'd go to points. And my money's on Stevenson just because from everything I've seen, I think Stevenson's the better fighter. I just wanted to tell y'all their weaknesses so y'all could understand what to look for to see if either fighter studied the other fighter and can exploit those weaknesses. And if they do, then you know that what I just said was true and that's what they worked on. Because if I was coaching one of them, that's what I would have them work on, how to exploit the weaknesses that they both do. Again, I see this going to decision. I've got Stevenson winning. It's not impossible for him to knock Felix out because Felix is very come forward. And when you come forward and you're running into punches that are going straight through your guard all night, especially them uppercuts that get through the guard, it's very possible you could get knocked out. But again, those were flaws that I've seen in both of them. I just don't think Stevenson's flaws are as bad as Felix's flaws. So y'all tell me what y'all think and let me know. Thank y'all again for watching. And don't forget, sub to the channel. And also, give it a thumbs up while you're at it. And if you didn't like anything that I just did, like, oh, you need to go back to the itty bitty little camera. Don't blow yourself up. We need to see the red boxing gloves in the background. Then give it a thumbs down. Thank y'all again for watching.